Hey, Dirk. Steve, thanks for doing this. I heard the sobering news and I'm stunned. Um, Hard to imagine. Hope you're not hurting. Um, hmm. Grateful for your friendship, Dirk. I remember moving to Meadow Drive 1,000 years ago, and you quickly became my best friend. And in sixth grade, I sure appreciate you for befriending me. And the good news about friends is you just kind of pick up where you left off when you meet again, which we've done off and on for years. I remember your laugh from when you were a kid, hasn't changed a bit, and love your enthusiasm for life. The fun memories of you, always will. Um, some of them were, I've told to a lot of people, whether it's getting run over by a golf cart or having your food burn up next to the fire pit when we were camping on a camp out in Scouts, or playing sports, or just doing whatever we were doing. I'm sorry to hear you're hurting and suffering in any way. You don't deserve that. Life's interesting. Um, I expect that someday we'll meet again, pick up right where we left off, and keep going. And that all the frailties of mortality will be gone at that point, and we'll just keep going. That's what eternity's for. So, goodbye for now. If that's the right thing to say, I don't know. I'll miss you. Again, you're just a good friend, Dirk. And loved watching your family grow up and all the things you've got to enjoy, some of the things you had to endure, and certainly other things you look forward to. You've always done with a smile on your face, and I sure appreciate that about you. We'll get together in your honor many times for as long as we can, and remember you, talk about you, share stories, and certainly have a laugh. Thanks for all the laughs. Man, hard to imagine. Love you, Dirk, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Hey Dirk, it's Dave Nelson. I would much rather do this in person and do it face to face, but I'm really happy that Steve had the idea to combine these messages to you. I think it's great to be able to reach out at this point and just communicate some feelings and sentiments. We grew up in the same neighborhood. You essentially lived just down the street from me, and there was always activity going on at the Erickson house. In my backyard, I could always look down the street and just see things going on down there. And I remember seeing your black Chevette parked down there a lot, the black car you used to drive. That neighborhood was fantastic. There were families and kids everywhere, a lot of friends everywhere. And since we grew up in that neighborhood, it put us into the 10th Ward. And for both of us, wasn't that just a fantastic ward and church environment to have in our lives? And that's one great thing that we share. We have both been influenced by some great people. You could go down the list of great people in that 10th Ward that had an impact in our lives. And I'm really glad that we've been able to share, that as part of the history of our friendship. And of course, the location of the 10th Ward at Cascia, at the South Stake Center, and the basketball court. And I remember fondly a lot of basketball battles on that floor, and watching you get a rebound and then turning around and taking it coast to coast for a layup, or getting a rebound and turning it and firing it down the court like a quarterback to an open guy for a layup. So I'm going to have just so many good memories of you from the neighborhood, from the 10th Ward, and also the basketball court. And you've set a really good example for us in patiently enduring and being brave and courageous in this battle you've had with cancer. So I just want to let you know that I love you, man. Thanks for being Dave Nelson's friend. And your friendship and your memory will always remain in my heart. And I wish you peace of mind, peace of heart, and just know that my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family right now. Thanks, Dirk.
Dirk, it's Mike Pope. Always enjoyed playing ping pong with you in my basement during high school with a 6.5-foot ceiling that always seemed to take those high shots that you and I would make.
Hey Dirk, Jeff Thompson here. I have not seen you for a really long time. I wish I had known what you've been going through. I would have sent prayers your way. I will do so now for you and your family. I hear that you are an absolute warrior, which doesn't surprise me at all. When Steve asked me to think about some of my favorite memories of you, I just picture this ridiculously handsome young man that I loved and envied at the same time, and remember you being one of those cool soccer guys. But you were always so friendly and kind to me. And I was reflecting back, the most vivid memory I have of you is oddly at a bowling alley at BSU. I remember a big group of us went to bowl together, and you were just the life of the party. I just remembered how positive and bright you were. And I was just struck by that, thinking, man, Dirk is he is a good person. And you've always been that, and you remain that in my memory. So I appreciate your example and your kindness and your friendship to me, and the positivity which I hear from your friends you have carried with you throughout this journey. So again, my prayers for you and your family. Much love.
Dirk, Dave Gibbs here. Hey, Steve's been keeping us appraised of your condition. And hey, Dirk, Dave Gibbs here. Hey, Steve's been keeping us appraised of your condition. And he asked a few of us to make a tape of, or a video of maybe of recounting some experiences we may have had with you. And took me a little bit of thinking about the experiences that I had directly with you. And one that really sticks out in my head was when we were way back when we were in 7th grade, and we were both in Mrs. Van Brunt's algebra class. And it was just one day, my seat was in the very front of the row, and for whatever reason you were walking up the aisle, and I saw you coming up, and as was my habit as an immature 12-year-old kid, I stuck my foot out to try to trip you, which was usually unsuccessful. But on that particular day, I caught you by surprise or something, and I caught you in the leg, and you fell straight to the ground. And of course I laughed because I thought it was funny. And unfortunately, Mrs. Van Brunt didn't think it was very funny. And so after you got up, she made me stand up and address you in front of the entire class and apologize for what I had done. After which she took me aside and gave me a pretty good tongue lashing, which of course everyone else in the class could hear. And I felt pretty bad about it, and and anyway, after the class, I went out to my locker, was getting whatever, you know what we did back then. So I was getting stuff out of my locker, and you came up to me, and I thought for sure you were gonna like punch me, or I thought you'd be really angry at me, but you kind of said, "Hey, it's okay." And then you said, if I had been sitting where you were sitting, I probably would have tried to do the same thing to you. And I was, I felt pretty good after that, because first of all, you weren't really mad at me, and second of all, um, in a way, I mean, basically, you forgave me for that, and I was pretty surprised by that. And you know, I think when I was 12 years old, my mom had given me a journal, and I was trying to write in it every day. And on that day, I wrote in my journal that Dirk Erickson's a pretty good guy, and that kind of set the tone for how I felt about you all through high school. And I know we haven't really seen each other since then. Uh, Obviously, life takes us in different directions, but it has been really nice having you as a friend online and having your support and reading your comments. And I honestly don't think I've ever seen you post anything negative, and that's a rare thing in the world today. But anyway, I hope you're doing well, and take care and be good.
Listen, I just wanted to say that I got the news that you're not doing so well. Hit me like a ton of bricks. Just found out about an hour ago. And I got to thinking about how little I've seen you in so long, but how important you've been to me. And I just wanted to, I mean, it was just I guess about a month ago, we were out in the middle of the McCall Payette Lake, and we ran into each other thanks to you reaching out, and how absolutely special that was to me to be able to see you. I was hoping we'd have a chance to hang out a little bit afterwards so I could give you a little bit more of what I've been thinking, but I'll just give it to you now. Basically, that short little sliver of time with you after so long just took me back to so many great memories of how, like two main memories, but how when I was, when we were both four, how we were just fast buddies, how I could always count on you to be there for me, and how you were just one of those just uniquely easy buddies to hang out with. And it had been, 20, 30 years, and I'd kind of forgotten about all that Dirk Erickson was. Then I got to see you at that reunion when, you'll remember the one where Dave put together the big slideshow. I'm sure you helped him. And we were just spending a great deal of time hanging out and going back, and I was telling myself how afterwards, like the highlight of my, like the surprise of the whole reunion, which was an amazing time for myself and my wife. I was like, the highlight was seeing my old buddy Dirk. I had no idea how much I was going to enjoy just hanging out with you and going back, and how engaging you were, and how truly heartfelt you were about our friendship, and how much we used to hang together and count on each other as buds. And anyway, I just feel like there's only a few true blues in a person's life, and you've always been that for me. We haven't had much time together, unfortunately, because of the fact that I'm all the way over here and you're all the way over there. But Dirk, just know that I am gonna always have a super soft spot in my heart for you, and I love you like a brother, buddy. I know you're going through a tough time, so I just know that I've got you in my heart, and I'm thinking about you, and I want you to take the best care of yourself as you can. And know you've got a huge supporter over here in California thinking about you. All right, Dirk, love you, buddy. Talk soon.
Hey, Dirk. It was great to spend time with you in your home on Sunday afternoon. I always enjoy the opportunity that you and I have to get together and catch up. I oftentimes tell people that, apart from my own family, I think I've known you longer than I've known anyone else, and I consider that to be an honor. These circumstances have really caused me to reflect on the many wonderful experiences that you and I have had in our youth in particular, from boating at Lucky Peak, eating able skeevers on Christmas morning, kickball in my backyard, and countless sleepovers at your house. These are experiences and memories that I will hold with me throughout my life. I felt like I had a wonderful childhood, and Dirk, you were a large part of that. I want you to know that I am so grateful for our relationship that has lasted so many years, and I want you to know, most importantly, that I love you very much, Dirk.
Hey Dirk, this is Robert Bennett. You probably don't even recognize me with my gray hair and everything. I know it's been a while since we've talked. I haven't been in touch much with everyone from Boise in a while. See the occasional thing on Facebook here or there, but I don't think I've seen anyone from Boise since pretty much BYU days. I've This is actually the first video I've ever made, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not very technologically literate, but I just wanted to reach out to you. I heard that you've got cancer, and I've got a niece and a sister-in-law who are both battling cancer at the moment, so I know how rough that can be. It's quite a struggle, and just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you and you're in my prayers, and just kind of gave me a chance to think back on all the good memories about all the crazy times we had in Boise, going to church dances and toilet papering houses and stuff like that. I can't even remember the last time I saw a house toilet papered. It's probably been 30 years, so I guess we were the last generation to have those kinds of crazy experiences. The kids nowadays just are all on their cell phones all the time, I guess. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you and wishing you the best. I kind of wish some days I could go back to those Boise days. It was so much fun. And now having to deal with all the craziness of being an adult and work and everything. It looks like you're still living in the Boise area. I'm in Bozeman, Montana now. Been here for about 20 years. It's a little bit like Boise, but a little smaller. So I've enjoyed it a lot. But just wanted to send you my best and let you know that we're all thinking about you. So I'm going to see if this worked and send it on to Steve, see if he can send it on to you. Okay, thanks.
Hey, Dirk. Hey, I just wanted to tell you that I love you, and that, I want to spend some time just kind of reminiscing with you a little bit and have this on record of some great things about you and how good a friend you've been to me all my life. I have to tell you, Dirk, you are my oldest friend. The friend I've known longer than any other person in my life, that is, and also my dearest friend. And you are a friend that has been a great example to me in many ways. But I wanted to tell you and just reminisce with you for a moment about a couple of memories. And one was when I remember first meeting you and actually going to your house, or actually we had met before that, but we used to tell this goofy story about us meeting on the golf in the grocery store, and how our moms were pushing carts and we got knocked around, and how that's how we became friends. And I can't remember exactly the details on it, but that's something we used to say was a story. But the reality was, I actually met you at church and in primary, in the nursery area. And then we went, because I'd moved into the ward and I was 3 years old. And I remember going over to the house there over next to your grandpa's house and spending time over there with you there. And, you know, whether it's back in your grandpa's yard chasing water skippers or doing anything like that, that was something we did. I also want to just also remember about all the camping trips and scout trips, and how we, the old tents that we had from scout camp that we drew names on, drew all our stuff on there, and then the names we put on there, the Hinden Brent, and those things that we drew on there was a lot of fun, down to the, you know, the taking of the dough and throwing the dough behind the bakery, and the walks down into the park, and with wondering where my dog went to only find him at home, are just some of the memories. And another memory is just also knowing how dang competitive you are. You are one of the most competitive people I've ever met. And it was sometimes to the detriment. I remember calling saying, hey, can you calling in and asking you to come hang out or anything like that. And you would, you'd say you'd have to finish mowing the lawn first. And sometimes I'd come over there and just wait as you mowed the lawn, because you had lost a bet or lost the basketball, playing to your brother playing basketball, and you had to do his lawn mowing had to mow the lawn for Brad because you had lost to him. And I remember that, how competitive you were about that. And it was so funny. To the other things where the forts we'd build down in your basement with your dad, with that old couch you had, and spending the time over there with you, Dirk. I also remember how bright and extremely gifted you are. And I remember that and realizing how smart you were and how gifted you were by when you bought that silly Timex, or that simple Timex computer. I mean, it would be more than no more than the I think the watches today are much more advanced, but that little computer, how much it was only $99, and you had saved up for it, and you worked for it, and you got it. And I was always amazed at at your programming skills, and you were able to program a video game off that. And that was something that was amazing to me. Dirk, I also remember just the times where I'd come over and wake you up, and we'd be going to priesthood, or go to some priesthood meeting or function, and I'd have to come wake you up and get you going in the morning, and get you there, help get you there to the meeting on time. And I'd show up and I'd spend the time until you got ready. And I remember just laughing with you and teasing you about how good of a look you had going on, because the time that you got ready. But you were quite the girls really did like you, because you were a good looking guy, and it was just funny. That reminds me of the road trip that we had down to Ogden after we graduated from high school, and driving your black Chevette down there, and using a pencil for a cruise control, and driving down there and going down there to see Tony, but ultimately to see more girls. So we had a great time doing that together. But what I remember and what is so much fun is just the time being with you, and the fun that we had together, and the conversations we had. I'm forever thankful for the friend that you were when I came back from Chicago, and how you were my friend. You were living in the 10th ward, and you were my friend, and it was like fitting back into something after I had just gone through a divorce. And you were my friend that was there, and I'm so grateful for that time that you spent with me, and then ultimately spend the time after I got remarried and be with you in the same ward. It was always fun to go to church and see that you were there. It was sad to see you move and go out after that, out of that ward. But Dirk, also all the boys' weekends that we had together, You know, I wish now in retrospect I spent more time with you, but Dirk, you are my best friend. I haven't seen you a lot because of life, but you know, it's something whenever I could see you, things just seem to slip back into how we were growing up. And it's really comforting to know, and this is what I'm going to miss, is someone that knew me at that point, who really knew who I was. And Dirk, you are one of the kindest men, the most kind-hearted person, and one of the most gregarious people I know. There isn't a person that doesn't seem to know you at church. There isn't a person that doesn't seem to know who you are at work, because you're just that guy that gets around and has a very easy way of talking to everyone about anything and any subject, and setting them at ease and letting them feel at peace and comforted there because, hey, I've got a friend here with Dirk. And I think that's something that all of us growing up respect about you. And Dirk, I just want to tell you that I love you and that you truly are my brother. I think I know your family just about as much as I know my own family, and spent probably about that much time with them, same amount of time, whether from all the many things that we did together growing up. Dirk, I want to tell you I love you. I'm not afraid of, and I'm comforted because I know where you're going. You're going to a better place. And you're going to be there. What I am kind of upset about is I'm going to miss you, because you are my great friend. And I want to tell you that. Love you.
Okay, here's a video about Steve. Steve's my oldest and best friend, and known each other since about 4 or 5 years old. Really, Steve's like a brother. Named my firstborn son after him. We see things a lot the same way. You know, over the years, friends will have, you know, might fade because they hang out with different groups and stuff like that. But Steve and I were always friends, and so growing up a block from him was a blessing, and also, you know, everybody likes Steve. I didn't know anybody who didn't like Steve. Let me share some memories and roast him a little bit. Most of the time we hung out at Steve's house because it was the place to be. They had good snacks too. Back then, yeah, Steve had food allergies too, so he, and you know, and he had asthma, and never let that stop him at all. And he, I was always impressed by that. He was always dominating in sports, and grew out of that for the most part, I think. So, he was fun to play sports with, and he was fun to run around with, and you know, I think the only time I mean, it was fun to have him play jokes on my brother Brad because he was fast. He could outrun him, and Brad would get annoyed with little Stevie Anderson sometimes. But that worked out pretty well because Steve didn't have to live with him later, so he could play some jokes on him for me. I don't remember the particular jokes, maybe something to do with shaving cream or something like that, but it was good times. I also remember playing football games when, like, my friends would take on Brad and his friends, and and it was great to have Steve on our team. We had a good childhood. It's funny, the weird things I remember. Steve probably remembers more. One thing I remember, we couldn't find his dog. We searched for hours and hours in the park below his house. Came home to find the dog sitting there in the front yard waiting for us. I think his dog's name was Sam. As we got older, we'd have sleepovers, and slumber parties were always fun at Steve's house. We would go to the old bread bakery next door, where being, young scouts, we provided a service to do some quality assurance on the dough that they would put out in the bins to make sure that it had sufficient elasticity and stickiness, because we liked to practice our throwing accuracy with that dough. But I would like to point out we didn't throw it in any moving cars, as far as you know. We were pretty good kids for the most part. We eventually got our driver's license, and Steve had a little Datsun pickup, and we had great times running around in that little white Datsun pickup. We made up a game called Industrial Park Chase, where we raced around in these wide streets that were near this industrial park, which is basically where the Boise Town Square Mall is now. That was kind of out of town back then, and we'd chase each other, and eventually more people started joining in the chase. And one night we were hiding in some tall weeds in a field off the street, and saw the flashing lights of one of our friends being pulled over. So we stopped playing that game, because we kind of started to realize, oh yeah, the police station's only a few blocks away. Wasn't a very smart thing to do. Maybe my best memory, well, running errands with Steve. Well, we did some funny errands. We would go just hang out and go to stores and check out their stereo systems, and we used to push the eject button and see how long it would take for the eject to happen. If it popped right out, clicked and pop, then it was cheap stereo. But if it went really slow, then we'd look at each other and go, whoa, that was a nice stereo. Yeah, we were kind of weird. But one day, we were down State Street near the Northgate Shopping Center. We were waiting to turn into the shopping center. I think we were in the median in that little white pickup. And all of a sudden, just this crash happens, and we're like, something hit us, We look around, and we can't look behind us. There's no car behind us. There's no cars beside us. But something definitely hit us. And we're looking around, and finally look back again, and this big, hairy guy with just wearing cut-off shorts. He wasn't even wearing a shirt, I don't think. I think he had shoes and cut-off shorts and a bunch of hair. And he stood up out of the back of the pickup and shook himself off and jumped out the back and picked up his motorcycle that had rear-ended us and launched him into the truck. And he got on the motorcycle and drove away. And we laughed so hard, I think we cried, but I don't think it did any damage to Steve's truck. I don't remember. That was pretty funny. Steve's been a great friend, and even though we don't see each other very often, we have families, we do our own thing, yada, yada, yada. But when we do talk, it's always like we've never missed a beat. And we're not too tough to tell each other, I love you, man. So, I've been blessed to have a friend like Steve. And, I'm, he's kind of almost related to me now, because he married into the same family my brother did. So maybe there's a chance Steve and I will hang out in the hereafter. But anyway, happy birthday, Steve. Love you, man.